Airbnb just named Toronto in its top 10 cities worldwide by revenue. Now that is worth talking about. For those of you who don't know, Airbnb is actually planning to go public. There's an IPO date set for December 10th, 2020, so just next week. IPO is an initial public offering, which means that finally Airbnb is going to be a publicly traded company and you can buy their stock. Airbnb will be traded on the NASDAQ under the ABNB ticker. In order to be able to file for an IPO, Airbnb had to file what's called an S1 IPO filing. And within that document, which I'll actually link in the description, you're welcome to go check it out and read it. Within that document, one of the main takeaways for me was this list of cities that provides the most revenue for Airbnb. This list of cities includes places like London, New York, Paris, Los Angeles, Rome, Barcelona, Tokyo, San Diego, Lisbon, and of course, Toronto. It is absolutely amazing for me to hear Toronto in this list of global powerhouses and tourist destinations. Sometimes we tend to forget, living here, we tend to forget just how big time Toronto really is on a global scale. You may not know this, but Toronto is actually the leading tourism destination in Canada. And Toronto happens to be in the top 7 cities in North America that are most visited by tourists. As a matter of fact, in 2018, Toronto welcomed over 27 million tourists, which is a over $10 billion economic impact for the city of Toronto. I wanted to record this video and discuss a little bit about how well Airbnb fits into our real estate market and our ecosystem, how well it's integrated itself, and how maybe it has shaken up a few things. So for those of you who don't know, Airbnb's been operating for about 13 years, so since 2007, in over 100,000 cities worldwide. So once again, 100,000 cities, and Toronto is in the top 10, and 220 countries and regions. There's approximately 4 million hosts on the platform who have earned over $110 billion over all these years. So these are absolutely tremendous numbers, and I'm sure we all may want a piece of that pie. So let's have a look at how Airbnb is run in the city of Toronto. So in the city of Toronto right now, there's approximately, according to the website actually called Inside Airbnb, there's approximately 25,000 Airbnb listings. Is it lucrative? Does it make sense to run an Airbnb? Well, in short, yes, it can be extremely lucrative, which is actually why a lot of landlords have chosen to walk away from the typical one-year rental model and rent their units short-term on Airbnb. This, of course, has affected our rental stock, which is why there's, and there used to be, maybe not now, but over the past 10 years or so, we've always had a shortage of rentals. Airbnb has certainly contributed to that. How lucrative is it really though? Well, I can give you 2 anecdotal examples. One is a cottage that was just recently put up for sale. This cottage is in an area called Kawarthas. I don't know if you know where Kawarthas are. I'll put it up for you so you could check it out. But Kawarthas is quite a ways away from Toronto. There was a cottage that was listed for sale there, and this is anecdotal evidence from a colleague of mine. This cottage was actually supplying the potential buyers with receipts from Airbnb for the past 4 months. Now these receipts were generated from June to September of this year, so approximately 3 to 4 months, and obviously it's been operating during a hot season. There's been no travel, nobody's been leaving, so cottages have been hot. This Airbnb, this cottage, which was purchased for $400,000, was able to generate $27,000 in 4 months in Airbnb profits. So if you calculate that, that's over $6,000 a month. That means that this cottage was renting for approximately $200 a night, every single night, with virtually no vacancies. And I believe that, trust me, there's been tremendous demand in cottage country in many ways, whether that's to rent or to buy. There's plenty of examples in the city of Toronto of individuals who actually own multiple units in a building. There are some buildings in the city of Toronto that openly allow Airbnbs, and there are entrepreneurs that own multiple units in these buildings and live there themselves, manage their Airbnbs, and generate incredible income. I am going to put up a list of all condo corporations that openly allow Airbnbs on your screen right now, so that you're able to have a look that if you are interested in running this sort of business, these are the type of buildings you want to be looking at. Now, you don't expect to be able to run an Airbnb out of any condominium. My condominium, for example, and thank God these are the rules, but they do not allow Airbnbs. Minimum rental in all Daniels buildings is 6 months. So you cannot legally be leasing anything out in your building for less than 6 months. If you happen to put up an Airbnb listing, property management in these sort of buildings will always contact you and ask you to remove your listing immediately. If you don't comply, there are many other measures that condo boards can take. In short, you don't want to deal with it. What you want to do is look at the buildings that openly allow Airbnbs and pursue that avenue if that's what you're interested in. I'm not trying to tell you that Airbnb is your golden ticket. What I'm trying to say is Airbnb is a feasible way to generate income that has worked for a lot of people. So obviously, when you have an individual who owns a unit in a building and then owns multiple other units strictly for the purpose of Airbnb, this is going to create problems. This is going to create rental shortages, and it's going to contribute to the overall unaffordability of the rental market. This is why on September the 10th, 2020 of this year, City of Toronto has officially passed a law that every Airbnb will now have to register with the City of Toronto, receive a specific number in order to be able to operate. There's additional rules and laws that have been described in the article. I'll actually link the article in the video as well. But essentially, the ability to own these ghost hotels is going to be limited. By ghost hotels, I mean units that are not occupied as a primary residence. Now, there's obviously going to be all sorts of workarounds with this kind of stuff. I don't want to get into that in this video. However, the idea is to put back rental stock into the open market and help out the renters. And that's a great motive. Now, keep in mind, these rules are only applicable to the City of Toronto. If you want to have 10 cottages in the Kawarthas, for example, or in Blue Mountain and rent them out, nobody's stopping you. You can definitely continue to do that and operate and make incredible profits. I'll actually link another article in a description of someone who rents out a 2-bedroom condominium in Blue Mountain and generates $7,000 a month. Needless to say, Airbnb is an interesting avenue to explore. I strongly suggest that you take a look into all the rules in whatever region you choose to operate in, and I hope you've enjoyed this video.